First, I'm testimony about the report and do the trial for the police to help with that. Thank you. Thank you. Take a seat in the witness stand. State your name again for the record. Spell your last name.
Yes, Delilah Cirencion, Cirencione.
Good afternoon, Agent Cirencion.
Good afternoon.
Could you tell the jurors where you work?
I work for the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, or SLED. I'm currently in the Behavioral Science Unit, but was formerly in the Crime Scene Unit.
Now, did you tell me that the mic cannot be turned up more and it cannot be moved? It's fixed.
Is that better, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
May you proceed.
Thanks, Your Honor. From what time or what dates were you working in the SLED crime scene unit?
I was with SLED Crime Scene from 2017 until 2022 in October.
So on June 7th of 2021, you were working with SLED crime scene?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
And did you have an occasion to be involved in the investigation of Alec Murdaugh?
I did.
And what was your involvement in that investigation?
On June 8th, I was requested by my lieutenant, Todd Shank, to respond to the call to medical center to collect buccal swabs or DNA swabs from 2 victims.
And can you tell the jurors what is a buccal swab?
A buccal swab is just a DNA swab, so it's a sterile Q-tip about this size, kind of like a Q-tip you use for your ear, and you swab the inside of the victim's cheeks for a DNA standard.
Do you just take one swab?
It comes in a set of 2 swabs within one container, so 2 swabs for each victim.
So you rub the inside of the person's cheek with that swab?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then what do you do with the swabs?
Then it's placed back inside the sterile container and it's put into a coin envelope where it's sealed, dated, and initialed, and the time of the collection is written on the envelope.
And it is sealed and dated and initialed to ensure that it is not tampered with. Would that be correct?
That is correct.
And if someone else analyzes or manipulates that swab, they should note that on the packaging?
I'm not sure how it goes after it's out of my control, but I chained all that over to Lieutenant Todd Shank once I went back to the SLED Forensic Laboratory.
So where did you turn those buccal swabs in?
After I left the medical center, I went back to SLED to the Forensic Laboratory and did a chain of custody with my lieutenant, and it was then in his custody.
And going back, just to be clear, who did you collect buccal swabs from?
1 female victim, Margaret, and 1 male victim, Paul Murdaugh.
Agent Cirencion, I'm going to show you these evidence baggies from SLED. Can you take a look at that?
Sam? Sam?
Do those appear to be the buccal swabs that you collected from Paul and Maggie Murdaugh?
They are.
And how do you know that?
Both of these have my initials, the date, and a description on them, and they're sealed with my initials and the date.
And looking at those, can you tell if anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. There's a additional lab number, an item number, and 2 other initials on them.
So once you collected those, it would appear that someone from the lab performed analysis on those swabs.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. At this time, I would offer State's Exhibit 102 and 202 for identification purposes only, as State's Exhibit 202 to the 1, being a buccal swab of Paul Murdaugh, and 202 being buccal swab for Margaret Murdaugh, and Your Honor, we would actually move to enter these into evidence.
Any objection? They're entered into evidence as those exhibit numbers.
Agent Cirencion, did you do anything else in regards to this case?
Yes, ma'am. Once I cleared from the Carlton Medical Center collecting the buccal swabs, I was requested by Captain Ryan Neal with the SLED Low Country region to respond to the initial scene of the crime scene and collect a cell phone that was collected by their agents via chain of custody.
And whose cell phone did you collect from Ryan Neal? Do you know?
I'm not aware of whose cell phone it was. It was a iPhone cell phone with a clear case.
And what did you do with that cell phone when you collected it?
The cell phone was collected by a chain of custody with Captain Ryan Neal, and then it was placed in a brown paper bag, sealed, and transported back to the SLED Forensic Laboratory, where it was chained over to Lieutenant Todd Shank.
Cirencion, I'm going to show you State's Exhibits 203 and 205. This is State's Exhibit 204, which is a cell phone, along with a paper bag here. Can you tell that's the paper bag that you collected this cell phone and put that cell phone in that paper bag?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And how can you tell that?
It's got my handwriting on it with my initials and the date and a description of the cell phone.
This time the state would offer State's Exhibit 204 into evidence.
Object to it coming into evidence.
It'll be marked for identification, those two exhibits.
The phone, those are the chain. The phone. Is that the phone or is that the chain of evidence?
State's Exhibit 204 is the cell phone.
I marked for identification, Your Honor. We have no objection to it being marked.
For identification.
And Agent Cirencion, if you could take a look at State's Exhibits 205 and 203 and tell us what those appear to be.
Both of these are chains of custody from myself to my lieutenant at the time, and from Captain Ryan Neal to myself, and then from myself to Todd Shank. They're both for the cell phone as well as the buccal swabs.
So those forms show where you collected or received the buccal swabs in the cell phone. Is that right?
They're a chain of custody, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ma'am, what is it you do for SLED? I mean, I understand you receive things, you take buccal swabs, but do you transport things or do you have another role at SLED?
I'm currently a special agent with the Behavioral Science Unit.
Okay. At this time, in June of 2021, what were you doing?
In June of 2021, I was a agent with the Crime Scene Unit. With the Crime Scene Unit.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You help process crime scenes.
Yes, sir. I respond to the state of process crime scenes, collect evidence, document evidence, write reports, and so on, and testify in court proceedings.
And did you do any crime scene processing other than receiving these items in this case?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. So, what happened to, where's that cell phone?
All exhibits, once they've been marked for identification, they remain with the court reporters.
So, yes, I put this here. You received this cell phone. They didn't tell you it was Maggie Murdaugh's phone, did they?
No, sir.
But you received this cell phone on the morning of what? When?
It was June 8th.
June 8th, the morning after the murders.
Yes, sir. It was June 8th, 2024.
And where was the agent that gave this to you? Where did he meet you?
The initial crime scene.
Okay, at the house, by the dog pens, where?
In the yard near the kennels. And
Okay.
yes, sir.
And when you received it, was it on or off?
I don't recall.
Okay. Are you aware that cell phones can continue to receive information or erase memory after they're, at any point, but specifically when you're trying to preserve evidence, do you know whether to turn it off or leave it on? Anybody instruct you on that?
I'm not an expert with the cell phones, so I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. Secondly, do you know what a Faraday bag is?
No, sir.
Okay, a Faraday bag, for your edification, is something you put an electronic device in so that no one can access it It can't receive new data.
Objection, Your Honor. Is there a question?
Here, I'm getting to it. And it can't erase data. Did you know that?
No, sir.
You're in the crime scene. Have you ever recovered phones before?
Yes, we recover cell phones, but they're typically collected directly by computer crimes or the regional agents.
Okay, so in this instance, though, they were not done the normal way, is what you're saying, the usual way. They gave it to you.
This way, it was just directly transferred to myself so I could bring it back to the SLED lab.
And no one cautioned you about putting it in a Faraday bag or not turning it off.
Not that day, no, sir.
So would that have been, and who gave it to you, agent?
Captain Ryan Neal with SLED Low Country.
Okay. And he just handed it to you. You put it in a brown paper bag, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you don't know whether it was on or off.
I don't recall.
And there's a passcode in this bag with it. Do you know where that came from?
I wrote the passcode that I was given on the brown paper bag.
Okay. And then somebody else wrote it on this piece of paper?
I did not write it on that piece of paper.
Okay, just to be clear, you were not asked to handle this cell phone any different than if you've been given a can of pork and beans to put in evidence, right? Is that right?
It depends if the pork and beans were evidence, but
Well, assume there's a can of pork and beans and it's a piece of evidence and they want you to transport it. Would they give you any special instructions about the cell phone as opposed to a can of pork and beans?
no, sir. The cell phone was collected using gloves and directly placed into the brown paper bag, sealed, initialed, dated, and a description was written, and it was transported straight to the forensic lab for processing.
And you don't know whether it was open, whether it had been shut down or was still on.
Not to my knowledge, no, sir.
Can I put this back in the paper bag? So I don't drop it again?
Sure.
Thank you for the indulgence, one moment. Thank you, ma'am.
Redirect.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. And you may call your next witness.